Hey kids, Sarah Cray here with Let's Make Art, and we are painting insects, and today we are painting the ladybug. Ah,
she's so cute.
so cute. We are going to do this in 3-ish steps. Before we get into steps, I'll introduce you to Michael, who is our cameraman. You will hear him with fun facts, and we talk back and forth, and also we're married. That's it, that's all. So step 1, we're gonna paint the shell, and I kind of have sub-steps underneath this one. So I'm gonna do a layer of yellow, and then a layer of orange, and then a layer of red for my shell. See, if you look at this shell, there's lots of different colors going on, and that's how we can see that it's dimensional. So that's why I'm doing that. Step number 2 is we are going to do the black parts on the ladybug, and step number 3 is our leaf. So before we start painting, let's do our oath. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise not to compare my work.
I promise not to compare my work.
And I promise to have fun.
And I promise to have fun.
Because that is what painting is all about. Having fun, exploring, trying things. It's not about being the best. And I know that sometimes we think it is, but let me tell you on a little secret. It's not. It's not about that. So I'm going to start with my yellow layer first. So I'm going to grab my paintbrush, grab yellow, and kind of right here on this bottom part of the shell, I'm going to work around the dots because that's going to be black anyway. And you don't have to go all the way to the back of the shell. I'll probably just do like just this half part here, okay? And again, these dots are going to be black. So if you paint over them, that's not a big deal, because black, you won't be able to see any color underneath. Or you can just leave them, you can avoid them and leave them white.
Do you want to hear the cutest little ladybug facts?
Yes.
So we call them ladybugs, but they're also known in England as bishops, because they look like they have little bishop hats on. Or ladybirds, because they fly well.
Oh.
But in other languages, when you translate their name, they're called God's little cow. They have little spots on them. God's little cow.
I wasn't expecting that.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. They are emptying our trash right now. Can they hear that? That's what's going on, garbage man. Okay, so I did my layer of yellow. If you did your entire shell, not a huge deal. If you only did half like me, you're doing great. Either way, it doesn't matter. Next, I'm gonna do a layer of orange. So I'm gonna grab the orange. And I'm gonna go over the yellow except for right around this black area, this big black dot right here. I'm going to leave some of that yellow. And what we're trying to do is show a color transition, because sometimes when you're looking at a color and there is light hitting it, you actually see where it gets like lighter near the glare, you see other colors. And that's what we're trying to communicate here, is right by the glare of this really shiny shell, right where that glare is hitting, it is different colors going on. And so if you actually look at different things, this is really apparent on like black dogs or black animals. If you look at where the light is hitting on the black animals, it usually actually is like a light blue. And same thing on the other side. I'm just leaving a part of that section yellow, painting orange around it. Okay, it is looking good, and now we're gonna do red. So I'm gonna grab my red. Start putting my red in. And again, same thing, as I'm putting my red in, I'm gonna leave right near this glare spot here where that color transition's happening, I'm gonna leave some orange. And this red, I'm gonna go all the way. I'm making sure I'm covering my shell. Again, if you accidentally paint over your spots or don't keep them perfectly white, not a big deal because black is going to go over it. And then you can kind of see that I have a really hard line from where I went from yellow to orange to red. And that line is too hard. We want to soften that. So what I'm going to do is I'm rinsing my brush so it's just damp. There's no color on it. And just in this spot where these colors meet, I'm going to just work the area back and forth a little bit. And this is called blending. So I'm just going to blend this area so this transition feels like smooth instead of having these hard start and stop lines. I'm going to do that on both sides. And then to give it another, just one more element of value and shadow and depth is I'm actually going to add a shadow along the back edge. So if you look at my reference photo here, the back end of this shell is actually like a really dark red. So you can add a little bit of blue to kind of give it a purpley color, or you can add black, or you can add brown. I'm going to do blue. And then on this back part of the shell, I'm just going to put this darker value in. Because again, we're trying to show that this ladybug is dimensional. It has form. It's 3D. It sticks out. And so we got to switch up our values to really communicate the shape of this ladybug. And if you need to do a couple layers of color to get the colors just right, there is nothing wrong with that. Watercolor is great for layering. I might do one more layer of red to make sure it's nice and deep. There we go. Okay, we are going to let that dry and not touch the shell. We're not going to do the spots yet because we want to make sure that our red shell is nice and dry. Because if I try and add black to this right now, it's so wet that the black would go everywhere, and we want the spots to be sharp. So I'm going to move on to the body, or the head, and the legs. So for our insect here, I have some different sections outlined, so I just want to like kind of go over what's what. These two are going to stay white, so like the front end too. This is just communicating that it's lighter values. That's why I have those outlines there. If you want to just color the entire thing except for the two white spots, you are free to do that. I'm going to start off with using black on this top section in between the spots. And then now I'm going to add a little bit of water. And you know how I talked about like black parts, it went close to when they're shiny, it's blue. I put a little bit of blue right on the bottom side to show that light is hitting that, and it's a lighter black. This can also, sometimes other colors that are black, but when light hits them they appear another color, are like purple, sometimes green. And I'm just going to leave a little white spot just for a highlight. Okay. And then I'm just going to take water and fill in this side. Okay. I'm going to carefully outline the spots that are going to stay white. Just kind of work the black paintbrush around it to show that there is an edge. And this is actually, this part right here, this little bump on this other side is a leg. That's what you're seeing right there.
I've been bit by a ladybug.
Have you?
Yeah, I actually got bit by a swarm of ladybugs. They were on a tree, and I thought, oh my gosh, look at all those ladybugs. And I went to go kind of grab some, and that made them mad, and they bite.
And they don't like that. I didn't know that ladybugs bite.
They don't bite things, but they do bite.
Grammar. Okay. So there is my insect body here. Now we can move on. I still want my dots, I really want to make sure that area is dry, so I'm not going to paint my dots yet. I'll move on to the leaf and we'll come back to it. So for the leaf, we're just using green and a little bit of yellow and a little bit blue-green for the shadow. So I'm going to start with just plain old green. And I got my stem coming up here. And I always like to start by putting a lot of color down first and then just use water to spread it out. Remember, use your water as if it's a paint color. So sometimes instead of reaching for more paint, I just want you to reach for water and then see how far your paint that you already laid down can go just by spreading it out using water.
I want to throw in at this point that a ladybug would be equally as cool on a skateboard or surfboard.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't have to put them on a leaf.
No, you don't. And then what I like to do for color depth is I painted this area green, but I want it to be like a really yellow green. So I'm actually going to grab just yellow and just paint yellow right on top of my light green, and it's going to give it a richness that wasn't there before. So we're just layering our colors on this. Now I'm working my way around my legs, around my insect legs, which is kind of hard to do because these are tiny. If you accidentally paint over them, it's not a big deal. Just wait for your leaf to dry, and then when it's nice and dry, you can paint your insect legs again. Or if you just want to wait to do your insect legs till the leaf is already painted, that's also an option. I like to give you guys different options because I want to show you that there's not just one way to do something. There's many ways that you can paint. There's many ways that you can approach a painting, and you guys get to choose what way you want to do it. So I'll show you how I do it my way, but if you want to change it up and do it your way, nothing wrong with that.
Ladybug larvae look like tiny black alligators.
What?
You got to see a picture of ladybug larvae.
They look like little black alligators?
There's one. Yep.
That's so cool. Okay. Now the last thing I need to add on this leaf is I need to put a shadow down. Our ladybug is an actual thing, and it casts a shadow because it's a little thing. You know what I mean? It's an object.
Beetle.
It's a form.
It's a beetle.
It's a beetle. So I'm going to grab some of this bluish green. If you want to do a different color, you can. If you want to just add black to your green or just brown, that's fine. Even adding a little bit of red, that would work too. But I'm going to use this blue-green, and right underneath the body, I'm going to put my shadow in. And I like to do my dark color first, but I'm having a problem because look how hard that edge is. And we don't like really hard edges when we're doing transitions. So I'm going to rinse my brush, and using just a damp brush, I'm going to blend out those areas so the transition is smooth and I don't have such a hard start and stop line. Now that makes our ladybug just look more three-dimensional because it's casting a shadow. Okay, now I can do my black spots. My red shell is pretty dry. And I also would like to say that if you want to work on your shell a little bit more, you absolutely can go back into areas and work on them and change things up. Your painting is going to look different from mine, and maybe you want to change some things on yours, or maybe you're like, oh, maybe like yours isn't as dark back here, so you want to do another layer. You don't have to follow me exactly. You can look at your painting and decide what you need. Okay, so I'm just going to use black and fill in the spots. Now try not to leave any white. If you left your spots white, if you have to kind of like paint over the edge a little bit to make sure you cover all your white spots, there's nothing wrong with that.
In honor of the wonderful movie A Bug's Life, I would like to name this ladybug Francis.
Genius. What we learn in A Bug's Life with Francis is that not all ladybugs are ladies, because Francis is a boy. Okay.
With a heart of gold.
Yeah. And there is our ladybug. And of course, if you want to darken some areas, you can do more layers. I'm kind of seeing that I have a lot of white edges in here from when I was like avoiding different areas. You can go back in and kind of tighten those up, close them up so it's not super outliney. Or you can leave them because maybe you like them and that is a style preference.
I want you to paint his shell crack black.
Oh yeah, I got to paint my shell crack. Okay, now if it's easier for you to take a pen and do this instead of use your paintbrush, you can. But this little crack, because the red parts lift up because the wings are underneath there. So we need to show that there's body underneath the wings and it's black underneath there. So a little crack of black would actually be peeking through, but just a tiny, tiny bit. So it's going to be the littlest thin line. Yeah, there we go.
You know what ladybugs eat?
Aphids.
Aphids. Up to 50 a day.
And aphids are little green things. Don't sloths also eat aphids?
I don't know what sloths eat.
I feel like they do because I read that sloths turn green because they're just laying there and then all the aphids come onto them, into their fur, and that's how they eat. And they just like... And that is why I love sloths so much, because that just sounds so amazing to me.
I can find you some aphids if you want.
To eat?
Yeah.
Okay. That is it for our ladybug. Thank you so much for painting with us. I can't wait to see how yours turn out. If you want to share it with us with help of a grown-up, and if they have Instagram or Facebook, they could tag us in it. Let's Go Make Art. Or if they're on Instagram, hashtag Let's Make Art. Maybe you just want to email us some pictures if they don't have either, but you really want to share it, you are welcome to do that. hello@letsmakeart.com. And I think that's all we got to say. So good job, you guys. Bye.